Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
How are you? How is it? Glad you could join us. It is a Wednesday, post-trade deadline. Mike, a little more active than in years gone by. Nothing major. Again, you don't see a lot of big names going at the trade deadline, going on January 1 anymore. But I must admit, I got caught up in it a little bit that day. I was live on Woodward that day, and I got caught up on it as you know, names were flying and the rumors were flying, and then not a lot of action from the Wings.
Not at all. Not at all. And we've been talking about this since we've seen it, Sean, is that I don't know if it's the inactivity or the words that were said after that are causing the biggest stir.
That's it. It's over. We are playoff bound, bitches. I honest to goodness. So you and I were together, more on where we were at and what we were watching in a second. You and I were together when those comments came out and you showed me, and I wish I could imitate your face, because you literally went, and the first thing that I said is I go, oh my gosh, it's almost as if he's trolling us right now. It was really, for him to say what he said over what they got was unbelievable. You know, in essence, let me paraphrase, just a reminder for people. We felt that we made the best moves to put us in the best possible position to make the playoff. And we were, you, Kirk Hunter, and I, there's the coach. You, Kirk Hunter, and I, and a couple other guys kind of looked at each other like, oh, okay, you can't be serious with that.
Yeah, it's almost like you said, like a troll job. I don't know if that's what NHL GMs do nowadays. I mean, to be with the kids, to get with the young fans, it almost has to be like it was taken out of context some way, because it just doesn't fit the puzzle.
No, it doesn't. 1-0 Buffalo. May the force be with the Wings down the stretch. These helmets are awful. Yes, there's no doubt about that. So, Mike, as I was joking, and that's where that little soundbite that Todd pulled the other day when I was doing the show with Shep, is Steve Yzerman sitting in the room. He's got all his brain trust around us. You know what this team needs? I'm going to tell you right now what this team needs. This team is a Craig Smith and a Peter Mrazek away from lighting the world on fire. Like, and again, like, is Craig Smith a bad pickup? No, not at all. But he's Craig Smith. And I think, like, you and I were talking about it. I like what you said. I don't want to say what you said earlier today. My take was, come out and say we wanted to do some things, but the price tag was high, whatever the case may be. And I thought your response of what Steve Yzerman should have said was even better.
And what I said was that he should have just came out and said, I love my guys. I love my picks. I love my prospects. I love what I have. I wasn't willing to trade them just to make the playoffs this year. And that's all it would have been, right? And that's what it would have cost. And we went over that list last time I was on with you, Sean, and there wasn't one of them that he was willing to get rid of. And if there's something we know, Steve likes Steve's picks.
Sure, absolutely. And the time is going to come. Okay, the time will come. I promise you. If you follow the Tampa model, so to speak, he's going to move on from some of these guys, because then he can deal from a position of strength, a position of assets that maybe aren't there yet. And it's funny, Mike, because I'm a firm believer. I don't know what happened, but critical thinking doesn't really happen today. Both things can be true. I can empathize with Red Wing fans who really wanted to make the playoffs this year. I can. I can also say it doesn't make a damn bit of difference if they make the playoff this year and are a sacrificial lamb for the Florida Panthers or whomever else, okay? I can also say, and I don't think there's any denying this, this is behind schedule right now, but you and I knew that before. You and I talked about that going back to last year. But, Mike, maybe this is the part where you and I go different paths. I still think they're on the right track. It's taking longer than anybody wanted. I admit that. I think Steve would admit that. But I still like the general direction of where this is going.
And I'm spot on with you, Sean. And I what I keep saying to people is that they're on that path till they're not. And it sounds simple. Maybe it's confusing. They are on that path until 5 of these guys are just dogs. And you can't get them onto the roster until Trey Augustine is a sieve, and now you really have no goalie. Until then, you have to take a look at what we have right here. We've got our key pieces in Mo and Ray signed long-term. You got your captain signed long-term, and you have a lot of nice pieces right there. And I mean, I'm sitting here now, and I'm like, it's going to take quite a run to make the playoffs. I want to see some of these guys. Let's bring them. Let's bring Axel to North America. And what I'm hearing is once the Swedish playoffs are over, the kid is going to finish his year this year playing professional hockey in North America. Now, does that mean Grand Rapids? Does that mean Red Wings? I would be floored if they brought him over here and he doesn't get his cup of coffee. But until that is, you take a look at it, Sean. They're not in bad position. Will I start to waver if we have another summer like last? 100%.
No,
because you've got to have those pieces, right? You know that.
No, and I think when you go back to the beginning of the season, okay, and I know I've said this for a couple years, I think this is going to be fun in the Atlantic Division, okay? And there were 4 teams that were about the same spot. I think some teams had a head start. Detroit had a head start on, say, for example, Montreal. Ottawa had a little bit of a head start on Montreal. Poor Buffalo is just, they've been wallowing forever. There's something in the water. And all of a sudden, as I sit here today on March 12th, Mike, and if you want to call me a slapdick, you go right ahead, okay? As I hold that up so you can see it. If you want to call me a slapdick, you go right ahead. I think the Ottawa Senators are at a point past Detroit right now. And I think Montreal's at a point past Detroit. And I'm not, sitting there looking at the standings. No. I'm not looking at the standings. I'm saying as much as I don't like Sam Montembeault blows, as much as I don't like him, he's better than the Red Wings starting goaltenders. And, oh, by the way, one of their young pieces there, Sebastian Cossa, is already up and playing very well in Dobbish. Meanwhile, much like the Red Wings, their goaltender of the future, or what a lot of people feel to be, is playing college hockey right now in Fowler in BC. So with that being said, I think they're further along this process. And again, if you follow what's going on with the picks and the high-rated farm systems and everything, you can see what's going on there. And I think that's troublesome. That should be worrisome and troublesome because I think you already see a lot of what Ottawa is going to be in the future. And boy, the future looks like Brady Tkachuk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The damn future. If we can stop fucking diving. My gosh, it's gross. Stop it, Twitchell. Gosh, damn it.
And Sean, the worry started. We've done this. We're in our second year here. From the very beginning, I've been screaming. This is the same team doing the same thing as last year.
Sure.
Whereas, as you just said, not Boston, Montreal and Ottawa have taken steps. Right.
Boston is starting their descent.
Yeah, Boston's done. That was slip of the tongue there. And so what you have is these teams that we've been talking about. Take Buffalo out. We missed on Buffalo. We don't know what happened there. But with Montreal and Ottawa have definitely taken steps better than last year. Detroit has not. We're in the same position. And we're once again saying, like I just said, we've got these nice pieces. What's next?
Tom said, good evening, our buddy in London. Good evening, Tom. David, I like the direction too. I just want to be involved in the tournament. I can't blame you. I can't, honestly. Mike, I swear to God, and I've said this to you 1,000 times. I want to go to that plaza down there and just have a couple of beers. Like, I promise you, when the Red Wings make the playoffs, I'm going to call you and go, Mike, you want to go down to the Red Wing game? Oh, you got tickets? Nah, I just want to stand in the plaza. Let's have a couple beers. I'll get whatever gluten-free thing you want. Let's go down there and just have a blast.
You read my mind.
I want that. I do. I want that. I empathize. I sympathize. All of that shit. Boy, the Wings are struggling. No playoff hockey at Little Caesars Arena since it opened. Let that sink in. I can't believe it. Jason said, hello, friends. Wings need a massive collapse from teams ahead of them. Yeah, I think their play in recent days, and again, let's consider this, Mike. There's one constant with young teams. Boom, 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 boom. That's what young teams do. It doesn't seem like there's any middle. Remember about a month and a half ago, we were going, holy crap, the Habs are awesome. And the same thing with Detroit right now. And so that's something that young teams do. But there's nothing resembling the Wings play right now that would make me think that they're capable of going on a run. And I think this goes back to the moment in November when Sebastian Cossa came up and gave a boost, and then they promptly sent him back down, prompting Dylan Larkin to come out and say, we really needed a boost right now. We got a boost, and now he's being sent away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and young teams need that, though. I mean, that is Dylan Larkin speaking for what he knows those guys need, and they need things like that. And the one thing, talking about right now, once you get back in February from what would be the All-Star break, the Four Nations this year, that's when hockey gets real. It's really when I start watching it. Back in the day, Sean, that's when I, for $99, would buy the center ice package, because this is when teams are going for the playoffs. And you're seeing teams making steps, be it Montreal making smaller steps. Ottawa obviously has taken a huge step. They made a trade that seems like really is working out for them and getting Dylan Cousins. And now the Red Wings kind of have stalled. I think they were the better team in Ottawa. I do. I think they played very well. I think Allmark will never have a game like that again in his life.
Never.
Ever. But again, one goal in these times when you need to be stepping up. This is where, from last year, that team that was so close to be making the playoffs, they should be in Ottawa's spot right now, right? Ottawa took a huge step. The Wings just didn't, and I just don't think they've got the dogs to do it.
And it's frustrating. It is 1,000% frustrating. There's no doubt about that. I would never tell somebody, oh, you're not supposed to be frustrated. Where I think guys like you and I differ from maybe fans and the emotional part of it is I have to take the emotion out of it because it's my job and say, I still believe in the general direction that this is going. I'm not sitting here, Mike, promising Stanley Cups, okay? Because I'm going to keep repeating what I've said for 2 years. There are multiple teams out there in Anaheim, in San Jose, in Chicago, in Montreal, in Ottawa that are basically doing the same thing that the Wings are doing, right? So this is a situation right now where I have no other way to say it. I get it. I feel you. I can't sit back, especially with the embarrassment of riches that I know are this close to popping into this lineup. I can't sit back and say it's all lost and this is awful and it's Matt Millen all over again. I can't do that.
No, you know who's saying that, Sean? The people that are saying that are the people that cried when the Wings started to try to get right and they lost their, 25, 26 years in a row of making the playoffs. They're the guys that would say, we need to make the playoffs. You never know what could happen. That 8 seed could do whatever, trade whatever it takes. Let's just make the playoffs. No, you don't mortgage the future for the right now. And I'm okay with that. It's uncomfortable. I can't say that I'm overly confident. However, come July 1st, come this summer when people can start signing, let's see what moves we make. Are we going after 13 more backup goalies, overaged fourth line and third line centers again. What are we doing? Are we re-signing, extending Petrie? What's going on? Where are we going to go with that? That's when you can start to get worried. Right now, I can't get mad at it. Is it delayed? Like you said, 100%.
Yep. Hold that thought, because you brought up something, Mike. I got into a conversation about this last night, and anybody that has listened to me over the years, I am, one of my favorite bits is people taking the exception and trying to make it speak for the rule. And I got into that conversation a little bit last night. Let's tell you about Lindsay Broadwell first. When it's time to get yourself a new house, whether you're buying, selling, or both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? There she is, Lindsay Broadwell. Your house is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the main streets of Northville and has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. She's an expert in all facets of the business, and when it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, even first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She will help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search day at BroadwellHomes.com. Let me get to some of these comments. Last year when they put the priority patch on, losing streak occurred. New stadium series unis, losing streak occurs. David, way to go. So the Panthers just throw Marchand bobbleheads on the ice now instead of rats. They are going to be so gosh damn fun to watch. I can't wait. You guys know how high I've been on them for 2 years. And there's no doubt in my mind they were going to win the cup last year. This year, let's wait and see. It's tough to have those 3 long runs in a row, but they are going to be so fun to watch. Mike said everyone making steps, but we are tripping backwards. Buffalo might have a word with you as well. Buffalo's another team. They just can't get it right. And you got to remember the 2 longest non-playoff streaks in the league right now are Buffalo and Detroit. And Buffalo's has been 5 years longer? It's insane. Eric says hello. 1-1, by the way. Edmondson scores. Keep the stick on the ice. 14 goalies. No place for a nervous person. Fair. 2-1 now? Who got it?
DeBrincat.
Okay. So I got to throw this out to you because I don't know if you saw this conversation last night I had with a guy on Twitter. Somebody said to me on Twitter, Sean, you know better than anybody. All you have to do is just get in the National Hockey League. And I said, that is just not true in this regard. We can talk about the Kings making that incredible run. We can talk about St. Louis making that incredible run. We can even use the Habs as an example of making an incredible run. But the one thing that you're forgetting in all those equations, who is the goaltender? Quick, Binnington, Carey Price, who I will make the joke for maybe the last time of my life. I am convinced he got out of bed in the summer of 2001 or 2021, banged his head, and woke up and thought it was 2014 and he was the best goalie in the world again. That guy, I hadn't seen that guy in about 4 years. No joke. And so his response to me was, well, just the fact that you're bringing those teams up kind of proves my point. And I said, not really, my friend, because here's why. For all those teams that just got in and made noise, how many of other teams have gone quietly into the night? How many other teams have been out in 4 or 5 games? For those 3 teams, there's 20 teams in that time frame that have gone out. So I think one of the dangers that I warn people is don't use the exception and make it speak for the longer rule. And so finally I said, okay, Mike, which goaltender for the Detroit Red Wings right now is capable of winning a series, let alone winning 2, 3, God forbid 4 series? They aren't there, guys. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
No, I can't see it. And again, I'm always going to stick to, if the team we have right now that we picked up Mrazek, that great pickup, if these guys end up making the playoffs, that's a different story. And I'm not talking about a run. My thing with the playoffs is I'm not trading one of my top 10 guys that I named off that last time I was on with you to get there this year. Yeah, I'm not doing it. At some point, At some point, one of those guys is going to become Anthony Mantha, and I believe Yzerman's the guy that can fleece somebody for something like that, but not right now.
I know why you did that. I know exactly why you did that. Jonathan Druin is screaming right now. Motherfucker. Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two guys, two handsome brothers with over 20 years of industry experience. They understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Now, whether you're saving for retirement, getting ready to sell your company, maybe you're already in retirement, these are guys that can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. Look, the investment world is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it might be time to work with the experts. Get in touch with my friends. I'm also a client. The Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574. Check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. What do you think of the Wings helmets, Mike?
Oh, they're awful.
I don't like
that. That is awful. Every time I see them, I get a little bit more sick.
Yeah. Mike said, can you guys do a roster breakdown as far as who you think gets let go in the offseason and realistically what kids get called up next season? Also, rumors of ASP coming this season. We touched on that earlier. I think he'll be up sooner rather than later. I'll tell you what we'll do, Mike. When the season is over, we'll go in depth with that. Mike, promise?
Deal.
Like
I'm in.
One of the playoff shows we do, because if you guys don't remember, or maybe you're new to the show, Mike and I look for any excuse we can to have sausage fest parties and smoke meat. So what we did last year is we had watch parties during the playoffs. And Mike, didn't we? We did it 6 of the 7 games in the Stanley Cup final, right? Am I correct in saying that? I think we did it 6 of the 7 games.
It was a bunch. I don't know if we got 6 in there, but I know it was the ones in the end. Once it was going to become a clincher, we got those ones in. We might have missed one, so yeah, it'd be 6 out of 7.
Yeah, I think it was 6 out of. I find myself turning the Wings game off to watch the Pistons. Hey, listen, hey, guys, don't tell anybody. The Pistons are a better team. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Can't deny it.
You know me, if hockey's on, I'm going to watch it. I was up late last night watching hockey. I'll be up late tonight watching hockey. Mike, Habs top line.
Yes.
Slavkovsky was awesome last night. And unfortunately, I've seen it's few and far between with that guy. I don't think he'll ever be the number 1 pick. And I'm probably premature in making that guesstimation right now. I'm probably premature in saying it. As a guy who's watched him night in, night out, though, I don't think he's the guy. I just don't. I think he's a good player. I think he'll be a good player. I just don't think. Look, when you got the number 1 pick, the number 1 pick has to be the number 1 pick, right? I mean, he does. I don't think he's the man. Does that make sense?
I 100% understand you what you're saying. It's a tough spot to be in as a kid. But if he turns into a player, come on, that's all you need. Yeah, you could say. Yeah, you could say they whiffed on a number 1, or people can say that. But if this kid isn't a constant NHL roster player, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, puts up some points, he's on that top line, it's beautiful.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, Todd said something in the we did all pre-games for all Stanley Cup Finals games and 6 other playoff watch parties. You see, Todd is the arbiter of fact. Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd.
We worked hard.
Mike, because I remember, was it game 6 or game 7? We couldn't get together, and I had a bunch of kids watching downstairs with me. Lauren had one of her parties. You know, my daughter's notorious for saying, Dad, can I have a few people over? And I'll go, yeah, sure. And then the next thing you know, there are 30 people over. And you said a few, right? Because remember was it game 6 or game 7? I had 3 different girls and 2 guys sitting on the couch with me watching the game down in the basement.
I want to say it was game 5. I was at a wedding.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it.
Because I watched one of them at my nephew's wedding at the bar outside the wedding. 3-1.
Good.
Are you shocked? I think it's Kane on the power play. The only time the old man can move.
There was, because one of her friends plays college hockey. I don't want to say, sorry, out of respect for her, but one of her friends played college hockey. And it was funny because it's in the first period and she walks downstairs and she goes, Mr. Baligian, is it okay if I watch a game with you? And I was like, yeah, come on down. Are you kidding me? And then another girl walked downstairs that played for the high school team. And she's like, can I watch? And then all of a sudden they started coming down. And of course, you know how that works, Mike. Then Lauren's mad at me. Like, I didn't do any. I'm just watching a stupid game. Why are you mad at me? You know? So,
our daughters are made to be mad at us, Sean.
Right. That's exactly. Jason said he loves the Shawner Sausage Fest parties during the playoffs. Wings did suck for fill in the name for a few years. Just moved backwards in the lottery. Yeah. Buffalo just scored again. So thank you.
Okay, Eric's probably 30 seconds ahead of my feed. Stop it, Eric.
Yeah, exactly. Mike, when you look at everything, I think Florida, as crazy as it sounds in my mind, I think they had to make a move, Mike, because I don't care what anybody says, and I'll use the Detroit Red Wings of the late 90s as an example, and I'm not going to mention any names, but I had multiple guys on that team in 99 say, we were gassed. You have to remember, this is a team that went to the Stanley Cup final, went to the conference final, won a Stanley Cup final, and then jumped up 2-0 against their bitter rivals in that series in the second round in 1999. And point blank, I had multiple guys say, I would never say this publicly, and I'll never give up a source, because it sounds like such a brutal excuse. We were gassed. And Florida's got to be close to that point right now. Enter Brad Marchand, even at the age of 36. New life, new rats. I think that's the type of move that Florida needed. I really do.
And the who it is very important to say. Does that lean you towards how hurt Tkachuk is? Yes. Because you've got to replace Tkachuk with a guy that can score. Marchand can score, not at the pace that he used to, and he's got to be a rat like Tkachuk, and Marchand can fill that role. Now, again, we have said it. If you dress all three of those guys at any point in the playoffs, I'm faking an injury and I'm not playing.
Can you imagine that line? Like, seriously, no. I'm not even being funny. Can you imagine that line?
No, thank you. I would. For us, Sean, by far the most entertaining thing that we could probably watch is what I'm going to say. They're all not only good and rats, but they're absolutely entertaining on the ice.
Marchand is slightly more talented than Sean Avery. Can I throw this out there, Mike? And I'm serious. I know you know the answer to this question, okay? Everybody talks about Florida. You have a few whispers about Toronto. Why aren't people talking about the Washington Capitals? And while we're on the subject of the Washington Capitals, I'm going to ask this question, and maybe this is the answer why. Quick quiz for you guys watching. Don't look it up. Who's the starting goaltender for the Washington Capitals? I'm serious. Like, Mike, I'm serious. It's like, really? So am I supposed to buy into the Capitals? Unbelievable season. I mean, like number one with a bullet, okay? But yeah, see, and I'm so glad that no clue. Nobody knows. Nobody knows Logan Thompson.
Yet they just extended him and extended their backup for a few years. That they have a great 1-2 combo. And you know from sitting with me doing this dumb show long enough that I've been a Logan Thompson fan for a while and have wavered on taking Vegas when he was going to be the goalie before an Aiden Hill or someone else would come back. Now, did I know he would do this? No. Do I know what he's going to do in the playoffs? Do you know what Hellebuck's going to do in the playoffs? Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the question I would ask anybody is he's very limited in the playoffs, but his numbers are decent. But yeah, I get it. That is exactly why no one's talking about it.
I'm telling you right now, and Austin said Capitals top 6 is all 6'3" and above. They're huge. Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren are there. The D not included. I'm telling you, so Lindgren's brother played for the NTDP when I worked there, and Charlie was with the Habs for a few years. And I'll tell you, Mike, every time I saw the guy until really the end, it was like, okay, there's something there. And then he started to falter a little bit, and they decided to move on, but very quietly, and I'm going to look this up just to fact check myself. He's got a 294 or 264 right now and a save percentage about 90. You'll take that out of your backup goaltender every day of the week.
On top of the experience he got on the run where Washington made the playoffs last year, you can't pay for that. I mean, the guy's got pressure hockey experience in there. If Logan Thompson all of a sudden, craps the bed and he's got to go in game 3, he can do that. And they just have this Caps team playing so well. This is a team last year me and you laughed at and said, I don't get it. I don't see it. And they haven't wavered off anything since then. They squeak into the playoffs last year. They make a couple tweaks here and there, pick up some role guys at the deadline, and they're off and running on an unbelievable year. And someone may have a future ticket on them. I'm just saying.
Jason, our buddy in Escanaba, Dallas getting Rantanen places them where? Mike, you might recall that was my pick out of the West at the beginning of the year, and I'm sticking with it. I didn't feel too confident about it. I got to be honest with you. I didn't feel too confident about it. And I hate to say this because I like a lot of the pieces that Winnipeg has, and I'll always root for Connor Hellebuck, good Michigan high school hockey product. There is a giant prove it with a capital P in front of the Winnipeg Jets and more in particular in front of Connor Hellebuck. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that.
Yeah, the season there at just screams Boston. Was that 2 or 3 years ago where they just ran away with everything? They were going to be the greatest thing. And how many rounds did they win? That's what it screams to me. I'm going to keep saying it until I see it out of Connor Hellebuck. I'm not going to say it until I see it out of Ottinger. I mean, there's no one in the West that really scares me, Sean.
I know.
When you take a look at it, not saying that it's not good hockey, but it just doesn't scare me.
Mike, in my mind, Vegas is sitting back going, hi, remember us? Remember? Hey, did you know that thousands of Metro Detroiters, including my family, have already called Legacy Partners to get help with their home and auto insurance? Our friends at Legacy Partners are one of Southeast Michigan's top independent insurance agents. They provide a full-service, one-stop solution for all of your insurance needs, personal and business, large and small. By the way, you're watching this show because you're a hockey fan, right? These guys are hockey fans. It's got to mean something, right? Come on. If you're not going to call them for the savings, gosh damn it, at least call them because they're all hockey fans. Legacy has helped our listeners by fixing mistakes other agents have made, asking the right questions to get the right coverage put in place to properly protect you, and help save you some money at the same time. Chances are, if you haven't checked your policies in the last year, you're paying too much and you could be underinsured. So what are you waiting for? Give Legacy a chance to help with your home, your cars, life insurance, Medicare enrollment, or your business insurance needs. Call them today, 586-209-4106, or visit legacypartnersins.com to get started with your new quotes. Jason, as a goalie, it's our game to win or lose no matter what. Just ask the fans. Isn't that the truth? Wings depression aside, these playoffs are going to be absolute cinema. Caps, Bolts, Knights, and of course the Leafs exit in round 1. Austin said, remember, Dallas has been doing so well with their star defenseman in orange. Lambo Sagan out. Shout out Plymouth Whalers alumni. You got it. Oh my gosh. Boy, that kid. Mike, you were privy to the conversation. I think we were talking to our mutual friend, Joe. And I'm a firm believer in something that I've heard more scouts say than you can shake a stick at. No two kid develops the same way. There's no path. Anybody who tries to tell you there's a path, there's no path. And I kid you not, Austin, since you brought it up, Tyler Seguin looked so out of place the first month. He really did as a 16-year-old. He looked incredibly out of place. And a lot of people in our fan base, when you're walking around the arena and everything, oh my gosh, did Mike Vellucci miss on our first round pick? I think he scored a month and 2 weeks, his first goal, a month and 2 weeks after the season started. And then I'm not joking, he didn't stop scoring. He did not stop scoring. And for every goal, it seemed like he got 2 or 3 assists. It was really, really fun to have a front row seat watching the maturation of that young man.
Yeah. And again, we say it, you say it a lot. I've heard you say it a ton of times about guys. A lot of times we're talking about those freshmen and sophomores in high school hockey and how out of place they look. And then all of a sudden, Sean, they're one of your player of the year nominees. So no one does it the same, but there's writing on the walls for some of them, but you are correct.
Great segue. It's almost like you are becoming a broadcasting pro, Mr. Iavasile. You really, whether you can laugh, you can make your silly little jokes and everything. We have to figure out what we're doing when the playoffs start too, by the way, pal. Do we go all in that first night? Don't we almost have to go all in that first night?
All in, 100%. It's got to be a big one.
Okay, I'm ready. Before we get out of here, some thoughts on the weekend. The high school season concluded. I'm not going to lie. I always get depressed. I can't believe that I have to wait 8 months for the media days and a new season to start. It was really cool to hear a lot of people that I know. One guy pointed out to me, I think Slim on Twitter, he said, "Hey man, I heard you talk so much about it. I gave it a chance and I loved it." And I was like, dude, I'm so happy to hear you say that, because it really is. It's one of the best kept secrets. It is. I wish it wasn't a secret, but it is. I know my buddy Jason up in Escanaba is all too familiar with how good it is. But a fantastic weekend, was had at Plymouth, and congratulations go out to Catholic Central yet again, 6 in a row, Flint Powers, and to Orchard Lake St. Mary's.
Yeah, what a weekend, and I wish I could be depressed, Sean, about it, because I usually am, just like you, but I am so freaking excited about what's to come and what we are about to do next year and in the coming weeks, and what we talk about. Every time we're talking to someone, we seem to grab onto something else that I think are going to help take this game to the next level. I love going to Twitter and seeing the conversations of some things that the state might want to change to help grow the game and getting more kids there and all these things. It really does feel like we're on the cusp of something big, doesn't it?
You know why I'm laughing. Okay. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Hockey aside, you know why I'm laughing. No, you're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what, one of the coolest things, 3 years in a row, the Division I semifinal, the night game, has featured a team from your neck of the woods in Livingston County. And the previous 2 years, it was Brighton and Heartland played an epic. I mean, that you didn't want the game to end. Brighton ended up winning in double overtime. Brighton and Clarkston played one last year. That was into double overtime? The other one was triple overtime, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I know Zach Helmanen scored. I know it was at the far end, so I do believe that would have made it double overtime. So I think Brighton was on the closer bench to us.
I think the first year was triple, last year was double,
yeah,
and then this year it was Howell playing the part of Brighton against Salem, and I mean, fire drill comeback led by one man. Okay, yeah. I mean, Mr. Kaminsky, Nolan Kaminsky, was unbelievable to tie the game, force it into overtime, and then Howell ends up winning in overtime. It was unbelievable. Oh, look at Alan, our buddy from Trenton.
Oh.
Sean and Mike. Hello, Alan.
Hey, buddy.
Jason said, didn't make my high school team till my junior year. Ended up playing low-level college hockey. Not a real Cinderella story, but still, some of us bloom a bit late. And you know what, Jason? You know what a lot of other people know, and I can't tell you how many kids from AAA have come up to me at the end of their senior season and said, Mr. Baligian or Mr. Iavasile, I wish I would have done this earlier. This is awesome. And I'm like, tell your friends. Make sure you tell your friends so they don't make the same mistake. It's a very special place. And Jason, you're one of those success stories. You can move on from this level. Of course, I knew Alan would throw in a Let's Go Trojan. New entry into the MIHL as well. And we saw their head coach earlier today, Ricky DeSanta, and Riverview Gabriel Richard going into the MIHL, Mike.
That is excellent. That is excellent. And again, trying to build schedules with teams that can consistently put kids on the ice to compete.
Listen, we're going to get out of here, but before we get out of here, I have one more friend to talk to you about, and that is All About Catering. All About Catering LLC is a full-service caterer. Graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people, All About Catering can and will take care of you. With Rick and his staff, customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see all their menus, all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. It's graduation season. It is upon us. If you're looking for somebody to take care of your peeps, these are the guys that can do it. All About Catering. And I'm not just saying that, Mike, they were the caterer for our graduation party. So we appreciate the great folks at All About Catering. Mike, always a pleasure to you. Enjoy the rest of the Wings game. I'll be watching hockey for about the next 5 hours because I'm going to watch this, and then I'm going to stay up and watch a certain team take on Seattle tonight as well.
Hopefully they continue. They play 60 minutes and don't let you down.
I am so sick of blowing 3-0 leads. I am so fucking sick of it, and I don't care. Swear jar, all of it. I'm so fucking sick of blowing 3-0 leads. It's the most dangerous lead in hockey, the 3-goal lead. See you guys. God bless you. Bye-bye.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.
That's it. It's over. We are playoff bound, bitches.
What the Puck?